Good day, folks. This is another episode of Bobby's Final News. Today, I'll be doing something a little different, like always. This is actually an album I've been wanting to review for quite some time now. This one is called Johnny Gilbert Sings for You. Now, if you don't know who Johnny Gilbert is, a lot of people don't. But I grew up with an aunt and a grandma who loved game shows. And I would watch Jeopardy with my aunt. Auntie, I used to call her. Aunt Helen. And Johnny Gilbert is the announcer for Jeopardy. Now, if you don't know this, but Johnny Gilbert started out wanting to become a singer and a music personality. And he was growing up. He grew up in Newport News, Virginia, and he was the choir boy in the Newport church. He was in the church choir. And in high school, he decided to pursue a career in music, and he learned a lot from the choir opera singer. Now, I did not know that schools had opera singers. I did not know that schools had opera singers, but maybe he got an internship and that's how he learned from an opera singer. But he never took up opera, but he always was interested in it. And so I found that very interesting. What else can I say? Oh yeah, he was a regular vocalist with Shelley Harmon and his orchestra. And they always toured the Virginia area. They never made it big, but Johnny Gilbert was a big part in that group. And after graduating high school, he auditioned for Dean Hudson and the Dean Hudson Orchestra. And I believe Johnny got he got confused and did not show up for the right audition and did not get the job because the audition had already passed. But I believe he stayed in Florida after that. This audition was in Florida, I believe. And Jacksonville, Florida. And a local agent was looking for a master of ceremonies for the Skyway Club in Jacksonville, Florida. And they asked him if he was ever an MC, and Johnny Gilbert, being young, did not know what an MC was at that time. But one thing led to another, and I believe he auditioned, and he ended up getting the MC job, and he was an MC for many, many, many years at the Skyway Club in Jacksonville, Florida. And he was in Florida for 3 months, and during that time he received on-the-job training and learned to walk on stage, speak in front of a public crowd, and tell jokes and stories, which came in handy as he later became a game show host and announcer. And you can tell that he took what he learned in Jacksonville, trying to be a singer, and MC. He took all that, and he took all that to heart and paid close attention, and that's pretty good. And there was a famous group called the Dead End Kids, composed of Leo Gorcey, Hunts Hall, and Gabriel Dell. And they were a group, and they were organizing a venue. I have notes here, little notes just to gaze upon. And Gilbert was among those in the group, and they played throughout the southwestern portion of the United States for 16 weeks. And when they played in Norfolk, Virginia, close to Johnny's hometown, Johnny got top special billing. And in the 60s, like everyone else, basically, not everyone else, but a good majority of people, Johnny Gilbert joined the United States Army. And he was in the 7th Army Special Services in Germany, and he was cast in a production of Xanadu. If you don't know what Xanadu is, it's the Marco Polo musical, and chronicles Marco Polo's trip to China. And the company toured throughout Western Europe, playing for a combined audience, a mixed audience rather, of servicemen and civilian alike. And later on, Johnny resigned from the service and returned to the United States. And he continued singing and hosting in clubs throughout the U.S. Not just Jacksonville anymore, folks. And one day, a well-known manager in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, asked Johnny Gilbert. He phoned him up and asked him if he would be interested in auditioning for television. For some reason, Johnny felt inclined to accept that offer, which he did. And he was given his first assignment as a singer MC on WDSU in New Orleans. And that's when he went to New York and was quickly signed to the William Morris Agency and received his first job on national television as the host of Music Bingo, which is a game just as it sounds. It's bingo put to music. And during that show's run, Johnny Gilbert released his first recording, which is Magical Melodies from Johnny Gilbert Presents Magical Melodies from Music Bingo. And it's a pretty good album. That is one I have not heard, actually, but I imagine it's pretty good, judging on the fact that I have listened to his second album, Johnny Gilbert Sings to You, which I will be reviewing here, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of background knowledge about Mr. Gilbert's surprising interest in music and the connections that follow through music throughout his life. Everybody loves music, folks, and music is very powerful. I did not know that Johnny Gilbert was trying to be a musician and was, in fact, budding before he became a well-known television announcer and host for game shows. And he's hosted many game shows. He's hosted, or not, he hasn't, he's announced for more game shows than he's hosted, but he's also hosted. But he's announced for Love Connection, he's announced for The Price is Right in the 50s when Don Pardo quit. For those who don't know, Bob Barker was not the original host of The Price is Right. It was Bill Cullen, and during Bill Cullen's run was when Johnny Gilbert replaced Don Pardo, and we now know him as the announcer for Jeopardy, which Merv Griffin called him up and offered him the announcing job in 1984 at the age of 60, and he accepted, and he is still in the post today. Now, I think I've covered everything musically. Let's see. Bing Crosby got him to host Beat the Odds. Bing Crosby is a big standards guy, and we all know who Bing Crosby is. He was a big people like to pit him against Frank Sinatra, much like people like to pit the Beatles and the Rolling Stones together, even though they had very different styles of music. But that's a whole other story. But yes, and about 50 years ago, Mr. Gilbert released Johnny Gilbert Presents Magic Melodies from Music Bingo and Johnny Gilbert Sings for You. And until recently, both of the records were out of circulation, and they've been out of until recently. They've been out of circulation since 1968. But Johnny Gilbert's website has them available on CD, and I've listened to the songs. I don't have the CDs, but I've listened to the songs. Johnny Gilbert Sings for You is a standards CD which he released, doing such songs as Take Me to the Church on Time, Love Letters, It's Magic, let me pull up the list, but it's a bunch. And point is that I enjoyed listening to Gilbert sing, because he tries to make the music his own, but he also, while doing that, pays homage to the original singers and songwriters by kind of not emulating their vocal styles, but keeping their vocal styles alive while making the songs his own. And let me pull up the track list right now. And that's why I was a big fan of his record. Johnny Gilbert Sings for You. Let's see. The track list, as I read it now, for Johnny Gilbert Sings for You. Why can't I pull this up? I got it right now. Is, folks, you're like, Chuck Woolery will be returning in 2 and 2 when I finally have this up. Have your pets spayed or neutered. There's Bob Barker for you. Love Letters. The Best Things in Life Are Free. Recipe for Love. Get Me to the Church on Time, like I said. You Can't See the Sun When You're Crying. And I believe that was a song by Jerry and the Pacemakers. A Brian Epstein produced. Oh, that was Don't Let the Sun Get You Crying. I'm sorry. Had a mind blank there for a moment. But The Ballad of Green Beret, The Impossible Dream, Try a Little Tenderness, On a Wonderful Day Like Today, yeah, Magic Lamp, May You Always, and I Believe. And like I say, Johnny Gilbert is, like I say, he does all of the songs justice. He makes the songs his own, but he also pays homage to the original songwriters and singers, because a lot of people in the 50s and 60s did not write their own material until, or like unless you were like in a band. Like Elvis didn't write his own material, but unless you were in a band, you didn't write your own material. You had people write for you. So he's paying homage to the original singers, basically, because he's keeping their songs alive, but also their styles alive. And he arranges the music in a way where it is very fast-paced, and sets the mood for the songs, and it's very well done. And I wasn't expecting this from a game show announcer. I've loved Johnny Gilbert since I started watching Jeopardy, and I had no idea that he was so interested in music. I had known about these albums for about 3 to 5 years now, because I had looked them up before, and I had known they were there. I had known they were in existence, and I had known they were available on Johnny Gilbert's website, but I was never able to find the songs. But I did manage to find them, and Johnny Gilbert is very classy, and he does a marvelous job on both of the records. Again, they are Johnny Gilbert Presents Magical Melodies from Music Bingo, and the one that I just reviewed, Johnny Gilbert Sings for You. And a little side note for you fine folks, for anybody who watches Jeopardy, not only does Alex Trebek provide the I think they're called liner notes or liner notes for the one CD that Johnny Gilbert released with both CDs on it. In it, Trebek says, "There is something for every fan of the 60s. Brighten up your day. Buy the CD and enjoy a voice that sounds as good in song as it does introducing bright Jeopardy contestants." That is from Jeopardy host Alex Trebek. But also, and to add a little humor here, every so often on Jeopardy, and for as long as I can remember, but I don't know when they started adding this, every so often Jeopardy has a category on Jeopardy